So we finna watch You Wouldn't Survive 90s and 2000 video rental stores. I had never been to a rental store, so let's see how that goes. See how that is.
Let me paint a picture for you. It's Friday night. You and your friends or family have nothing to do.
Yo, what's up? Nothing, B. Just watching the game, having a bud. What's up with you?
Watching the game, having a bud.
True.
And the weekend's just getting started. So someone orders a pizza, and before it gets delivered or on the way to pick it up, you end up deciding to watch a movie together. And you know what that means. It's time to stop by Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, or whatever rental store is your place of choice. This literally was the best.
I remember Blockbuster. I just never, motherfuckers never rented goddamn movies though.
Feeling in the world back when it was a thing, namely during its big time in the 90s and 2000s. Back before we could just effortlessly scroll through thousands of shows and movies we now have on streaming services, all while still finding nothing to watch, mind you. Watching movies and shows from the comfort of your home meant either catching them live, recording them on DVR or tape, or simply getting up, going outside, and heading to the store to either purchase or rent.
I can't lie, I miss primetime type shows. Back then, I'm talking about for me when I was a little kid, Disney Channel and Nickelodeon and shit. When they had them old shits for real, my nigga, W shit, it was W time. Like niggas never had to actually be on that show and actually wait what time for your new show to come on. Like back then, you had to really remember in your head what time your show come on, my nigga. It wasn't a thing that was telling you what time that shit started, nigga. You had to be on Disney and wait for Disney to announce what time that show is popping up. And you're gonna have to be there on time to hear that. And then when the time that day happen, you're gonna have to really match the time and wait for that time to hit for the movie to shit hit. Nigga, that shit really nostalgia. I miss them times, nigga. Niggas don't do that shit no more.
Something. And these trips weren't just for fun. These were whole missions that can end up taking an
RP her.
hour or so. If you were there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if not, or you just don't remember, we'll get to it. Video rental stores were cozy, fun, and honestly brutal when you think about it, both as a customer and employee. But despite the trouble, stress, and fees, they still stand out as some of the best experiences of the consumerism world. And today we're going to look back at why. So get that overpriced popcorn ready and let's jump right into it. Oh, and if you like cultural lookbacks like this, then feel free to like and subscribe because that's what we do here. Plus, we've got a new goal for 20K for 2026. Anyways, let's get back to it.
I hate eating these type of shit, man.
The feeling of stepping into one of these video stores is absolutely unmatched even to this very day. Like I said, this wasn't just an average car ride trip to Walmart or Target or anywhere like that. Visiting your video store of choice was an entire event in itself. And depending on you and your family, that event might have happened multiple times a week. I swear, me and my dad would hop on his motorbike and go to Blockbuster almost every day when he got a membership. I remember he'd come home with 2 movies and I'd have 2 games, and the next night after he got off work, we might be right back up there swapping for 2 more. So you know I was well acquainted with that store. And that brings me to the smells, sights, and sounds. Everyone knows all Blockbusters had that smell that no one can forget. There was this hint of popcorn and snacks with a bit of plastic from the slipcases and a little dust to complement it all. Then you had the sound of those fluorescent lights buzzing and the clack of cases being dropped into the return chute. Partnered with the eargasm that was employees popping open cases every 10 seconds for a new customer. Oh, and don't forget the trailer kiosk that was on infinite repeat. Especially as a kid, being in that store felt like a grand adventure full of new experiences. Spending too much time in the game section just to end up renting out something that I already did a week ago was my forte thanks to my love of fighting games. But the big thing that always stood out was how much adult stuff you might get your eyes opened up to being young in there. You had your standard rated M games like GTA, Assassin's Creed, and shooters, but sometimes you'd run into something that would just stick in your head. Like this Playboy game I ran into and wondered, what could be going on in that game? And that goes double when you go into the movie section. There were so many adult movie cases that either awakened the man in me or made me realize that I'm still a little kid, cause I swear this Ginger Dead Man cover, that thing would freak me out every time I was walking with my dad while I was looking for his rentals. And for those that had mom and pop rental stores, there was always the little room hidden behind the beaded wall with the real adult stuff that kids would try to sneak behind. This was all a part of the fun though, well, not that last part. But there was this true art to all the cases and synopses that dressed these DVD covers.
I ain't gonna lie, back then it was pure cinema, like I said again. To me, you go all the way back, you be like, damn, times was good. And it's like, damn, older you get, you like, shit. This shit really this shit finna change like how we is right now. Like how y'all young niggas is, or little niggas is in 2026. Y'all niggas probably like, yeah, this some shit. And then when 2030 hitting that shit, y'all gonna really come that hope like, damn, shit had changed. That's how I feel right. I'm telling you. 2006 kid. I'm 2006. Man, through time, like, damn. Time has changed. Shit went different. Like, shit used to be good back then. Like, used to have a little blast. Niggas knew how to play shit without earning it. It was just, everything was like chill. It was vibey. You able to hang it. It just was vibey. Now it's like, I don't know. It's like, back then niggas used to have their own. The niggas had dance moves, juju on that. Okay, we ain't gonna do that, but hit the folks, the whoa, motherfucker whipping they. Like, nigga, we had all that shit. And the shit left. Like this. That shit hurt. Damn.
These films had a few seconds to capture your attention and get you to walk out the door with them. So they had to say 1,000 words or just straight up trick you. Remember all those bootlegs that would try to fool everyone like Transmorphers? With no algorithm, you had to get well acquainted with them, because with hours of physical browsing time and such a huge selection, you were bound to see them once a visit. That was always the highlight of every trip, especially when you weren't alone. Many times you'd be looking at games and movies without having read reviews, seeing trailers, or skimming a wiki. It was you, those cases, maybe an employee recommendation, and your conversation with whoever was there with you, which typically in my case was my little sister or brother. And sometimes those negotiation sessions got real, especially when you just knew that other person's pick was going to end up sucking and you were going to end up wasting a trip and a night playing or watching some BS. And when you finally made your pick and were heading out the store, they always hit you with that impulsive buy section. The chaotic gauntlet of non-movie merchandise and snacks, the $5 bags of stale candy, the oversized boxes of gum, the desperate plea to parents to buy some promotional poster and overpriced popcorn. Oh boy. Heck no, my dad never got me any of this, and I learned fast not to ask.
How to get better game at work. Get some blue blockbusters.
Hey, Sarah.
Whoa, Ozzy, you reek.
You know I reek. I've been playing so many games with my Games Freedom Pass. I have had zero time to shower.
No extended viewing fees with your Games Freedom Pass. Grant, buy, game your way at Blockbuster.
Sweet.
Like, look how commercials used to be. Commercials used to dead ass. We used to have, bro. I can't say you. I'm gonna rent them cheeks. Yeah, we're gonna skip past what he said. But like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, look at the old commercials. The old commercials used to hit. The old commercials used to hit. It used to hit pure cinema. It's a hit. Back then, when we used to have that shit, man, shit was crazy back then.
We're closing early.
Of course, it wasn't always easy being a customer back in the video rental era, but I'd be lying if I said these setbacks weren't a part of the fun. The big one, of course, was the journey of securing the actual media. See, back then when we relied on physical media, you either were there on time or you didn't get the rental.
You wasn't there.
I've heard so many stories and heck, been in actual circumstances where a new movie or game was dropping, so it was a race between you and dozens of people that you never met to get whatever you were looking forward to. I remember rushing my dad to Blockbuster the night that Super Smash Bros. Brawl hit shelves so I could rent it ASAP. And getting the last copy there, man, it hit different. I mean, the rush that I got was insane. This was darn near a crisis with people calling multiple stores to get a chance at securing whatever it was they were looking for.
And then they would start renting them day one, the day after it came out. And that's what happened here. I phoned them and I said, look, do you guys have them for rent? Yes, we do. And I went down there. I tell you something, I was down there faster than you can blink.
And while it's funny to laugh at now, walking into the store only to see nothing there for you or to hear, we don't have it, at the front desk was soul crushing.
Entertainment Mart didn't really find anything but You know, you don't always, when you go there.
It's usually hit or miss though. Like I said, I never go in expecting to find anything.
You go to the store for this one thing that you hyped up all week, only to have to make a compromise with yourself, forced to comb through the lesser titles in the second row of the new release section. And you know the real defeat moment was when you had to tell your sibling or whoever was there with you, you can just pick something. Just sounding and looking sad as AF. Heck, as a kid, you might stare at the empty shelf like the game or movie or something was gonna magically restock. Now imagine you do get that media to take home and it ends up either sucking or the disc just doesn't work. This was a regular video store occurrence and one that I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemy. Actually, I might. Listen, I remember on the last legs of the 2000s physical media era, I was renting Super Smash Bros. Melee and I had to rent it 3 times in a row because every copy I got would either skip, freeze, or basically just show me the middle finger. I remember the last one I rented worked well enough after I used the toothpaste trick on it and I just said screw it, I'm keeping it. And trust me, that's...
niggas don't do the toothpaste method, nigga. Niggas don't know nothing about that toothpaste method. When you put that bitch and rub it smooth around the goddamn, that's how I used to do my PlayStation 2 games. The bitch hit or miss. It hit or miss. I don't care about. It's a hit or miss. Sometimes if your fucking shit is too scratchy fried, it's a miss. If it's not, it's a make. You can make hit. Or you blow the goddamn fucking system down and hopefully the dust particles not fucking it up.
Far from the only time that it's happened to me. But you know, we can't talk about this era without talking about late fees. Unless you had an unlimited rental pass, renting meant that you were on a time limit, and late fees were charged if you went over that limit. Those fees depended on the location and price of the rental. Initially, Blockbuster charged a full rental fee for every day that a new release was late. Later, they convert late fees into extended rentals, meaning if a movie was late, it will automatically re-rent to you in the system for an additional rental period, charging another rental fee and extra nights to return it. It was simple, but for those late fees, it felt like anything but. Heck, even if a family member, which was automatically tacked onto family accounts, could get you in trouble, as you couldn't rent till you paid their fees either. Oh, and remember when Blockbuster advertised no more late fees?
No more late fees! No more late fees! No more late fees! No more late fees! No more late fees!
Hilariously, that wasn't ever the case. Customers were actually just charged full price for their rental after 8 days unless they returned their media and paid a fee for taking over 8 days. Guess who got sued by 47 states for false advertisement shortly after this initiative? All in all, if you were caught in them in any way, late fees were the worst, and if you shopped at an establishment where they actually called you, there was nothing worse than forgetting to return some embarrassing movie.
Just calling to remind you that you haven't returned one of our rentals. Let's see here. It's titled Big German Jugs Collection number 23. Be sure to return it soon. Have a nice day.
Yeah, that shit was just irritating me, bro.
One part that I never got to experience in the video rental world was the VHS era, and that means that I was never accustomed with the Be Kind Rewind agreement. At many rental shops when tapes were still in, there was a silent agreement that you needed to rewind what you took out or you would be paying. Literally, many shops charged a fee if you ignored this cute little slogan of a threat. While that fee was just $1, that dollar was lost on something easily preventable and was worth a lot more back then. This gave rise to the widely available and now useless invention of the VHS rewinder. While some VHS machines would eventually incorporate one of these built in, those that own other models would settle for this, a machine that you simply pop a VHS tape in and let rewind. And that was the whole thing. That was its only purpose. No play button, no pause, no fast forward, just pure mechanical noise while you waited to not get charged later. Be Kind Rewind wasn't
So you just did that to rewind
as cute as it sounded.
That's nasty.
It was basically social enforcement. A reminder that that era of physical media depended on everyone doing their part, whether they cared or not. And once DVDs came in and that slogan disappeared, so did the rewinder. An entire household appliance instantly became useless overnight. Just another reminder of how temporary that era really was.
But by the late 1980s, competitor Betamax had faded, and now VHS is ready to stop spinning too.
But the
RP VHS, I wasn't in VHS or VHS, I was in DVDs.
real hell of the video store era was truly exposed to those that work for them. There are just as many stories of stressful experiences from working at places like Hollywood Video and Blockbuster as there are glory ones of meeting lifelong friends. First of all, there were a lot of duties for everyone to cover. A typical employee day at a rental store was work the cash register, open the cases to scan VHSs or DVDs, check the return box both outside and inside, make sure that VHSs were rewound, and if they aren't, then load up that rewinder, sort the movies and games alphabetically, carrying stacks of them to and fro, ask customers if they need help finding anything, lock up, stock the candy, put the money in the safe, lights out, set the alarm. This and a lot more was done with prepping new releases, which meant printing the insert for the case, taking the tape out of the original box, putting the tape in the case, and then shrink wrapping the original box. Oh, and sweeping and vacuuming for closing. Depending on where you work, you'd also have to watch the corn section so kids didn't sneak in. And that's all just a job, not the extra stuff stacked on top of the job. One of my favorite pastimes as a kid was a special brand of video that popped up on 2000s YouTube, and that was Blockbuster employees, especially the Blockbuster critic, complaining about bad customers and business practices that they'd be exposed to throughout the day working at Blockbuster and other rental stores.
Do you have that one there? I was like, no. You have it on the window, why don't you have it? Ma'am, you didn't see the big letters saying coming soon right above the sign? I just don't understand why people miss those big, bold letters that just jump out right at you. Coming freaking soon! Coming soon! Coming soon! They don't get it!
People yelling about late fees, people not having ID or the wrong ID, and being mad when they couldn't rent, kids making messes.
Do you have a 360 console? No, we're just looking. They're over there stacking up games in their hand for no reason. They don't have the console. The parents let them come in, let them just rip and run. And what rile?
People not knowing what they want and expecting you to be able to find it before we had proper cell phones to search. Being a constant theft target, helping people through the transition of VHS to DVD, and of course, sitting through that trailer kiosk loop constantly all throughout the day.
I am required to deal daily with customers and customer problems. I am also required to
This nigga's gonna cry.
do things like make space on the new release wall and previously view movies and keep track of daily transactions and records. You don't run into many problems. What you do run into is a lot of customers saying that, they brought things back when they
Is she finna fucking cry? Am I tripping?
didn't really bring things back, or they returned things empty and they claimed that the disc was in them.
In video stores, it was like employees were supposed to be cashiers, tech support, movie databases, punching bags, and babysitters. And sometimes they were babysitting whole adults, because the amount of "I brought it back" and "it was scratched like that when I got it" stories I've heard is astounding. Video store workers were in constant psychological warfare and straight up took all that abuse from their superiors and customers for the love of the game. You gotta respect them for that.
Had a long summer day? Make up for it with a Blockbuster night. Enjoy your summer nights with one of these big hits now available on DVD at Blockbuster. Find them all on DVD at Blockbuster, bringing entertainment home all summer long.
Despite all that trouble and stress, man, I miss video stores, and I know a lot of you do too. That ritual of going out, looking through all that physical media, deciding on a rental, and meeting and talking to new people can't be replicated these days. It was never just about the movies, but the atmosphere, the connections, and the hunt. Meanwhile, things like Netflix feel so brainless and empty, which is why so many hate all this talk about theaters maybe one day being completely eclipsed by streaming culture. Remember 2020 when theaters just weren't happening? Bro, that was straight up not fun. I love staying home and watching movies with my family as much as the next guy, but there's a reason we like to go out and grab special snacks before we watch one of our event films at home. There's a real event feeling that comes from having to leave the house before watching something together and video stores really brought that to the forefront. We lost a core
Look at this shit. This shit pure fucking awesomeness.
communal space, and we all know we need more of those. This was a place other than Reddit and conventions where people could just talk about movies with some random stranger face to face. And it's dearly missed when it comes to these new conversations of it being so hard to find friends or even just people with common interests in everyday life. That's part of the reason why people still romanticize Blockbuster and video rental stores in general. Not because they were perfect, because they weren't. They were inconvenient, limited, and sometimes straight up frustrating. But all of that friction gave the experience weight. You had to commit, you had to leave the house, you had to negotiate, wait, and sometimes settle. And when you finally sat down and hit play, it really meant something. Like I said, it wouldn't be as fun without all the drawbacks as we're finding now in the streaming era. The hunt, the anticipation, the shared excitement, the stirred space time with friends and family. That's what made movie night really feel special back then. And even now with everything available instantly, it's hard not to miss a time when entertainment was asking a little more from us and gave a lot more back in return. So what did you think of the video rental era? What was your store of choice, and did you ever sneak through those beaded doors?
I'm sorry, I've never been no particular mix, but I do remember the times though.
I'd love to hear all that and any other stories you have from back then, whether you were a customer or employee. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, stick around, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. And
Does in the chat, man. Does in the chat, nigga. I like to show vid. Does in the chat.